going to be it. There's the figure 4 leg lock. This is it. This is it. Where's the bell, George?
That's it. The winner of the following the match, Gino Brito, and now for the official announcement.
Le vainqueur, the winner, Gino Brito.
A little earlier we heard talk Bobo Brazil, and Bobo mentioned about an interference in his match, and the man he was talking about is 400-pound Big Jim Lancaster. Fortunately for Bobo, he still defeated Bobby Colt, but that didn't prevent Jim Lancaster from jumping in the ring. Now, these two gentlemen are going to come together in Toledo in a match that Bobo Brazil has requested. And as you can see here, the spokesman for Big Jim Lancaster is none other than Dr. Jerry Graham Jr., and I'm very sure that he's going to have another side to this story. Doctor?
Well, there's been a lot of misinformation going out over this broadcast, which I intend to make right this second. First of all, there was no interference in that match with Bobo Brazil. What happened is Bobby Colt's a good friend of Jim Lancaster's. He came into the ring after the match to help him back to the dressing room, and Brazil attacked him from behind, I might add, for absolutely no reason whatsoever except for the fact he didn't have enough guts to attack him from the front. That's why we are demanding, now Brazil's trying to get out of this, but we have already signed a contract for a United States Championship match in Toledo against Big Jim Lancaster versus Bobo Brazil. Brazil, you're on the run. You think your friend got hurt in California. That's nothing to what's going to happen to you, because Jim Lancaster is the master of the big splash off the top rope, and that's just what we got in store for you. Flat as a pancake. Tell him about it, Big Jim.
Just a minute, before Big Jim goes on, I'm going to tell you something else. I was sitting at ringside. Big Jim ran into the ring while the match was still in progress, not after the match was finished.
Who are they going to believe, you or me, Cannon? I built a reputation of honesty, integrity, trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Jim Lancaster would not stoop to attack a man from behind. This is your next United States champion. I wanted the United States champion in my stable, and this is the man that's going to get it for me. Right, Jim?
That's right. I have met Bobo Brazil. Our feud goes back a long time, George. We've got him in Toledo. The title's on the line. I don't need to attack anybody from behind. Bobby Colt was hurting. I just wanted to help him out of the ring.
There you go, Big Jim Lancaster, Bobo Brazil, Toledo.
Mesdames, Messieurs, notre troisième combat aujourd'hui, our third match today. Les étoiles de la lutte qui présentent cette fois-ci dans le coin gauche. Il s'agit de Burlington, Vermont, à 210 livres, à 210 pounds, de Tony Rico. Et maintenant, dans l'autre coin, de Niagara Falls, à 244 livres, à 244 pounds, Tony Parisi. Et l'arbitre André Roy.
Here we go, wrestling fans. Tony Parisi, the cannonball, the other half of the International Tag Team Champion, combination of Gino Brito and Tony Parisi, going in against 210-pound Tony Rico from Burlington, Vermont. And I have a feeling that in this match, we are going to see a lot of scientific holds and a lot of trading and a lot of exchanging of different moves and go behinds and switch outs and a lot of good moves. Looks like it's coming up, right?
Tony Rico's a young, upcoming wrestler, and the important thing, you can look at him, he spends times in the gym, he wants to learn, he gives 100%, and he goes out there, and every time he wrestles, you see improvement. That's very encouraging, because that's the way a young man should feel about competing. Every time he goes out there, he improves himself. That's a nice switch. Beautiful takedown. You know, when you look at Tony and Parisi and Gino Brito, they are tag team champions, but this is the fourth time they actually hold the tag team belts as partners. They held the first one was back in the early 60s in Tennessee. They were Mid-Atlantic State champions. Then they were twice Worldwide Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions out of New York City, and now they hold the International Tag Team Championship. So it's a great, great combination. They've been champions for years and years, and it's a credit to have them in professional wrestling.
Something else that you didn't mention is that you also are part of this Italian connection.
Well, you know, for some reason, there's a lot of Italian wrestlers around the area. There was, you go back, there was Dominic Danucci, Tony Parisi, Gino Brito, Bruno Sammartino, and myself, and that was the Italian connection, the five of us. And there would seem to be the different places at different times, when we do get together. That's why they call us a connection.
I see. Now, Tony Parisi happened to mention it when he was out here last week, that you and Gino and himself are now known as the Italian Connection in different areas where you three of you wrestle together.
Dominic is retired, just retired about a month ago. Bruno's retired, so I guess there's just the three of us left.
Well, it looks like it's whittling down.
Connection is going down.
Any retirement in the plans for Gino Bravo?
Not in the near future.
Not in the near future. Well, you have it right from the mouth of Gino Bravo. He has no intentions of retiring. And you're going to see a lot more of Gino. Incidentally, some other thing that I think we should bring to the wrestling fans' attention. We very seldom talk about this. We talk about wrestlers working out in the gymnasium, Gino. But we've heard that you have accomplished something in bench presses that very few people are able to do. And that's break the 500-pound mark.
That's right. You know, for some reason, people enjoy powerful wrestlers. A lot of times, some wrestlers are not that powerful, but they do have a lot of talent, and they get their takes done, they get wins. But people are impressed by natural strength, and it did help me a lot in my career because I do use a lot of strength. But this year, George, I'm going to make you a promise, and all the fans a promise. I want to be the first man in my body weight to bench press 600 pounds, and I want to do that in March. And I want to do it right here on TV. Yes. Wow. And that would be a world record for a 248-pound man. The only man that did it weighs over 300 pounds, so that would be a world record.
I haven't done it in a long time, so it doesn't mean as much. Well, I'll tell you, Tony Rico sure is giving a good account of himself in there with Tony Parisi because he is in with the champion, and he hasn't stepped back so far in this match.
You go there and he'll fight his heart out. That's why I have a lot of respect for that young kid. He go there and he's got. But Parisi is a veteran, a Cajun one, and he won't break the rules. But when it's time to get things done, I think Parisi I want to predict that Parisi may come out on top of this match, even if it's a 10-minute mark. All is Rico's got to wish and hope is to last that 10 minutes.
Well, it would be an accomplishment for Rico.
That's right. That would give him a lot of encouragement. If he can last 10 minutes with Tony Parisi, he's proven something.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a match, say like this here, where it's a 10-minute bout, you're in there with a young fellow who hasn't tried to get cute with you, say like a Tony Rico, who has tried to exchange holds with you, and you find that, hey, I can beat this guy just about any time now, but he's such a nice guy and he's trying to better himself so much. Have you ever let anybody go over 10 minutes with you?
Not if I can help it, George. I have to admit it. Even if it's a nice guy, I forget about that in the ring. I go out there and I try to win matches. It's my job to do that, yes.
I didn't know how you would answer that, but I thought that maybe you would say that no,
I can't do that. Nobody did that for me. I'm not going to do it for nobody.
No, I didn't mean that. I thought you would say exactly what you did say. I know you too well. Well, the worm has turned, so to speak.
Can I reverse that question? Would you have done that in your career?
In my career?
Yes.
Well, for the wrestling fans who remember when I wrestled, I didn't give very many people too much of an opportunity when they were in the ring with me.
That's right. I remember that, too. I knew the answer, too.
Squash them like bugs. That's the name of the game. Look, if a boxer comes up and he tells you that he goes into the ring...
And I'm not going to hit you. He's not a boxer.
He's not a boxer, no.
If I'm going to play hockey, I don't want to score goals. I'm going to stay home.
Well...
I love to score.
I thought you did, yes.
But this is competition, George. I think even if a lot of times the only man I'm not going to wrestle is Gino Brito. Anybody else, I'll go in the ring and wrestle.
You have never wrestled Gino in
I would never sign a contract like that. Never. That would be working against my own emotions.
Well, one thing I did find hard, and people ask this question too, is if I was wrestling, let's say in Kansas City, and I signed a contract to wrestle in Los Angeles, and most of the time you don't even inquire who your opponent is going to be. You sign that contract, you send it back to the promoter.
That's right.
And you get up there and you look across on the other side of the ring, and here is a guy who's a good friend of yours. And when something like that happens, this is the most difficult time. I found that it was the most difficult thing for me to stand and see a fellow who I liked and admired and respected. And that only lasted for a short time. 2 or 3 minutes into the match, we were tearing at each other's throats, of course. But it would be shocking to me. My first reaction was, what the hang did I do here? I'm in with a guy who's a nice guy, and he's trying to make a living too. And I started thinking like that, and you have to stop yourself and psych yourself the other way.
That's right, Joe. It happened to me. Let me give the best example I can give you. In 1978, I had an opportunity to break in the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. I was in the South then, and superstar Billy Graham was the world's champion at the time. And Vince McMahon, the promoter in New York, told me, well, you'll have an opportunity in the next 60 days to sign an off-road contract, and you'll wrestle Billy Graham for the world's title. And that was the greatest opportunity for me in my first 7 years in wrestling. But what happened in the meantime, Bob Backlund defeated Superstar Graham for the title in our home in New York City, and the Superstar Graham is not the champion anymore. So they asked me the question, were you going to wrestle Backlund for the world's belt? I said yes, but then it wasn't made that way. There was a contract was signed with Billy Graham, so it was the only opportunity I had to win a major title at that time. And somebody else beat me.
3 minutes.
So it happens.
3 minutes remaining in this 10-minute match. And up to this point, Tony Rico has given a very good account of himself.
This is unreal. He's really, I'm telling you, he's giving it 100% out there. And don't sell him short. The kid's got a heart of a lion.
Well, Parisi knows he's been in the bout.
Yeah.
Regardless of what,
Exactly.
he knows he's been in the bout.
They're fighting out there.
At this point right now, Dino, I would have to say, if Tony would lose, I'm talking to Tony Rico, if he would lose right now, he has accomplished something.
Of course he did. Competing with Tony Parisi is something. Tony's taking his time, I think he's... Boy, he hit him in son there.
Oh, here we go.
There's a Pat O'Connor roll-up. I don't know if that's going to...
Oh, he got him. Winner of the fall. The match, Tony the Cannonball Parisi, and now the official announcement from...
Le vainqueur de ce combat, Tony Parisi, the winner.
You wrestling fans in Toledo last time, seen a lot of action, a lot of excitement. And of course, we've seen the return of one of the most popular wrestlers that have ever put on a pair of trunks in the Toledo area. I'm talking about Flying Fred Curry. Curry's opponent that night was Dr. Jerry Graham Jr., and unfortunately at ringside at the same time was Chris Carter, who was being lined with Dr. Jerry Graham Jr. The outcome of the match is that Graham got back into the ring before the 10 count. Fred didn't. Fred, what's going to happen next time?
Well, first of all, George, you were there, and all the fans in Toledo seen what I did to Jerry Graham. Now, if he needs Chris Carter to be in his corner to protect that 10-cent body of his, he could have him. But I'm going to have Greg Wojciechowski in my corner, and he's going to be handcuffed to that Chris Carter, and there will be no interference. And that is all I need, because once I get Jerry Graham in that corner, one-on-one, it's going to be all over for him. I'm going to promise the fans in Toledo, and I will not let him down. When he's in that ring, he's mine, and there'll be no more Jerry Graham.
So what you're saying, the contract is already signed?
It's already signed. Chris Carter's handcuffed to Greg Wojciechowski, Olympic champion. This way, I am sure of it. The people out there will be sure there'll be no interference. There'll be no Chris Carter. There'll be nobody to protect that Jerry Graham. And that's all I want, is that Jerry Graham in that ring with me.
Well, as wrestling fans know, when Chris Carter is wrestling, of course, Jerry Graham is out there. And when Jerry Graham is wrestling, Chris Carter's out there. And there's always all kind of interference. And I think, Fred, that you've got the key here. By handcuffing Chris Carter to Greg Wojo at ringside, you will be able to go face-to-face, one-on-one with Dr. Jerry Graham Jr. right here in Toledo. And I think this is going to be a very exciting match, because you won't have to worry about Carter on the outside.
That's right. Well, all I can say, you fans be there, because I'm going to be ready for this man.
There you have it, Toledo, another exciting match, Curry versus Graham.
Mesdames, Messieurs, notre 4e combat aujourd'hui, en fourth match. On le reconnaît un peu tout de suite derrière moi. Il vient de Tokyo, Japon. À ma gauche, Monsieur Ito, Mesdames, Messieurs, 265 livres, 265 pounds. Il est d'origine inconnue, from parts unknown. À 239 livres, à 239 pounds, le Destroyer. Et l'arbitre, André Roy.
Super intelligent Destroyer going against Mr. Hito.
He's another great talent from the United States, Destroyer, from the United States. They're locking up real solid here. Real big chop from Hito.
match, Gino, because they look like they're very evenly matched at this point. And when that type of match comes up, you have excitement.
That's right.
Hito from Japan, and of course a super intelligent Destroyer.
Destroyer is the type of wrestler that is not the type of wrestler that's a powerhouse, but he's wrestling strong. What I'm talking about, he can go out there and grab a hold and really hurt you. Not with really his power, but he knows how to fly hold, how to use his balance, and how to use your own balance against yourself. He's a real mechanical wrestler. You know, George, I don't know if you get to mention, but I think a lot of people just started to follow wrestling. You know, I like to mention that Billy Robinson is right now their international champion, and the tag team champions are Tony Parisi and Gino Brito, and the worldwide wrestling champion is Bob Backlund. The reason I mention this because they're all going to be wrestling in the area, and I think it's good to mention once in a while who's who in wrestling. And they're the big names to remember right now.
We get a lot of letters from fans asking, who is this current champion, who is that current champion, and they like to know what's happening. Brazil, of course, is the U.S. heavyweight champion.
That's right.
The Canadian champion, Greg Rojo, and as you mentioned before, the other champions, the international tag team champions, and so forth. And all of you wrestling fans watching Superstars of Wrestling will be seeing these great names coming into your in the near future.
They come from all over.
International wrestling at its best on Superstars of Wrestling.
Ito just came back from a tournament in Germany. He won a gold medal. So he's no slut. He goes out there. He needs a wrestler. And you can tell by the way he's built. He's a wrestler. A lot of good wrestlers come out of Japan.
Well, I was telling Tony Parisi last week that when I first went to Japan, 1953, one out of every 10 Japanese wrestlers was able and competent. And today, 99 out of 100.
That's right.
It's good. It's
what
hard.
they did is that they brought in the right coaches, and they schooled them right with people like Carl Gotch, and I hate to mention, but Billy Robinson was there for many years.
And Destroyer.
Whether we like it or not, Destroyer was there for 6-7 years straight. And whether we like it or not, the people we mentioned are just super talented in our business.
Well, there's a lot of time you don't agree with the way a man wrestles with his style. But you have to admit that he has the knowledge, he has the ability. He's not in the ring because somebody said to him, hey, you're a nice guy, so you get in there. You mentioned many times before, you don't pick champions, you pick challengers.
That's right. You see, the reason, the only thing I can say about Robinson that I really don't like, and which he gets away with, and they're going to come up with a special rule for him, he gets out of the ring a lot. Every time he's in trouble, he gets out of the ring. I remember wrestling him in Montreal not too long ago, and it was a championship match, and that was my title, which he stripped me back in July, and that was my first chance to get it back. And Robinson spent at least 7 or 8 minutes outside the ring. He always broke the count of 10, but he must have went out of that ring at least 21 times, Omer Marchessault told me. So 21 times out of the ring in one match is just taking the chance of your opponent away to beat him. So I think they should come out with a special ruling about that, George.
Well, this is why they have cage matches. A lot of fans ask, why do they have Texas Death Match, where the wrestlers stand around, lumberjack match?
That's
right. Why do they have cage matches? Sometimes you have to have this type of match to contain the individual who you're wrestling with.
So the rules are made that way, but a lot of people abuse them. There's no rules that say, well, if you go out of the ring, you got to be back by the count of 10. But it doesn't say how many times you can leave the ring. You can actually leave it as many times as you want, as long as you break the count of 10. But I think if you're a competitor, you're supposed to be there and stay in the ring and try to beat your opponent.
Do you think they'll ever make a rule to
well, right now we're working on it because he's a champion, and I think it represents very badly the championship by doing that. Every time he's in trouble, he walks out of the ring.
You can't do it, you know. You know why? I'll give you an example. In baseball, they have sometimes a battle where they deliberately foul off 10 or 15 pitchers in a row. And sometimes somebody stepped up and said, hey, listen, there should be a limit. 6 foul balls and you're out, or 10 foul balls or something. You can't put a limit on as many foul balls as you want to hit.
The same thing with
the same thing with wrestling. You're not going to start going on the floor unless you put a cage on the ring.
What it does, it just takes away from what's going on. If people get aggressive and the hands are hot, I think it takes away from the competition.
You know that, and I know that, but it's still one of the rules that you're going to have difficulty to enforce.
Exactly.
Because then you're going to have to say, well, you can't throw them out. A lot of places have stopped wrestlers from being thrown out over the top rope by disqualifying the man who throws the wrestler out.
But that's another way of cutting a match short, but at least that's a little more difficult to do. I mean, you have to throw your opponent over the third rope. I mean, that's work there, but just to walk out of the ring, anybody can do that.
That's a beautiful
Nice
move.
small package, but he's in the ropes.
I think Destroyer's getting a little upset.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching wrestle. You look at him, look at the size of his legs, the way he's built. He's got the build of a wrestler, and he is that. He is some kind of wrestler.
Less than 5 minutes remaining in this match.
There's a karate kick. Ooh, I think that cut his wind out. He hit him hard.
I surprised Destroyer because he was preparing to give him the backdrop.
Ooh, but that was the second time you tried. And I guess with a guy like Ito, if you don't do it the first time, don't try it the second time, because he got smart to it, and that's what happened there.
Nice body
slam. Brought him out real hard. He got him away.
Oh, I think we're going to see something coming up now.
He went for the figure four. Ito got out of it with a chop.
He timed that beautifully, you must admit.
Another slam. Boy, he took him down hard again. He's going to go for the flying headbutt. That's one of his favorite moves. That's it. Move out.
1 minute dans le combat. 3 minutes.
3 minutes remaining in this match.
Oh, heavy knee drop right in the chest.
There we go.
It's locked in now. There's no way out of this. That's locked in solid. It's in.
That's it. The winner of the fall and the match. The super intelligent Destroyer.
Le vainqueur, the winner, the Destroyer.
We've been telling you wrestling fans in the Detroit area about all the excitement that's coming to Detroit's Cobo Arena March the 19th, opening up the 1983 season. When you hear the wrestling card for that night, you're going to be as excited as I am. In the main event on that night, we'll see Billy Robinson, the international champion, putting his title on the line against Bobo Brazil. That's right, Bobo Brazil will be going against Billy Robinson, and in his corner, of course, will be Lord Alfred Hayes. Another very exciting match on that card will be a six-man tag where we bring in the Italian connection, and that will be Dino Bravo, Gino Brito, and Dominic DeNucci. They will be going against the threesome of Gilles the Fish Poisson, the Hangman, and luscious Johnny Valiant. And I have to not tell you who will be in the corner of these three wrestlers. It'll be Eddie Creachman.
Yes, it's going to be very nice to go back to the Motor City at Cobo Hall to send all my great wrestlers, my protégés, back to the Motor City. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. I am anxious to go to the Motor City myself, and I'm going to be there. I just can't wait, George Cannon, to get there, because Gilles the Fish Poisson, the Valiant, and the Boro are going to give those Italians a nice ride for their money. And I want you to know, and I want all the wrestling fans to know, that I haven't changed. I'm the same Eddie the Brain Creachman that I was when I went there before, and I'm coming back the same way. So you better all be ready, because I'm pretty sure you're going to hear bells all over like we used to. And now I'm going to the gym with my men to make sure that they come into Cobo Hall in shape, and we'll be there.
There you have it. Don't forget, Detroit's Cobo Arena, March the 19th. Be there.
Accordé à l'équipe Poisson le Bourreau. First foul.
Here we go. Fall number 2. Hangman in the corner with Dan Ferris, the pretty boy from Hollywood, Florida, weighing 215 pounds, gives away a lot of weight to the Hangman. Here's a tag, and now we're going to see Tony Russo, the compact 238-pound tagger from Mexico City, who's going crazy in there right now, dropping the 300-pound Poisson, trying to fly and mirror the Hangman, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. A couple of interested fans right now. There's a tag made by Hangman to Poisson. Poisson comes in the ring, delivering punches to the midsection and tackle blocks to Russo. And I'm wondering if Russo is sorry that he tagged at this present time. While the Hangman's holding on the back of his trunks, nothing else. Russo will learn a few more holds. Wow, a body block coming from Poisson in the form of a tackle. Russo moved out of the way, comes back with an armbar, and flips the 300-pound Joe La Fish Poisson to the mat. This tag team action winding up, another card of very good action. We see Gino Brito, Tony Parisi, Mr. Hito Destroyer, and winding all the action up is tag team action. 2 minutes remaining in this curfew match. 1-0 for the Hangman and Poisson. As once again they double team Pretty Boy Dan Ferris in their corner. I would venture to say at this time, point in the match, the winners will be Hangman and Poisson. But at this point, it looks pretty bad for Russo and Ferris.